Hey guys! Welcome to the show!
Good morning.
Hi. Good morning. It's the last Friday in June. How did that happen? I'm just legitimately curious how we've made it halfway through the year already.
It doesn't help that I was startled when you said June.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in any case, thanks for joining us for 6 months of 2025. I hope that you've had a lovely 2025 and your world is not burning. So, can't say that for everybody in the world, but such is life. Yep. We're going to do trading cards today. Yep. We've got Denny Lowe, Saddle Master, and Sheridan Floral Carver. Aficionado.
And Hawaiian shirt wearer.
And Hawaiian shirt wearer.
Yes, hey.
He's very abstract today.
This is part of my repertoire.
And next to him, we have Ryan.
Just
Ryan goes fishing.
Old Ryan.
Ryan goes fishing.
Yeah, my cool shirt is one my mom embroidered.
I know, look at
it's
those
awesome.
little
Just put
trout, right?
Rainbow trout on it.
Yeah.
I know a fish. Look at me go.
Nice.
I know that because they have them at Wonders of Wildlife. And I've read the plaque.
We also live only an hour from two of the biggest trout farms in a long ways.
Yeah, but I don't go to those or
You want to go?
talk about them.
I love the good interpretive plaque though. That's roadside nature parks.
I love a good
great
plaque.
road trip activity. There's little plaques about the history and the ecology.
You know, the trail that I walk that's by my house is the Trail of Tears, and there's a plaque. And I've read it a few times.
They put a lot of their wetland and riparian plaques
they
out there
do.
too.
Yeah, I can read all about the butterflies and the native vegetation.
It's awesome.
Love a good plaque, guys.
Love learning stuff.
Nothing better than a good plaque.
Liz, I'm glad we agree.
Alrighty, folks. Well, this is the last Friday of the month, which means we do trading cards. If you would like to send us one of your trading cards, we will send you one of ours. Mm-hmm. So that's how that works. The address here is 1463 South Glenstone, and you can address it to trading cards. You can address it to Liz. You can address it to Denny. It doesn't really matter who you send it to, as long as it's one of those three people. As long as it goes to that address. They know in the office that those cards come here, and they go on this lovely wall behind us. So, we really love. Martin Schultz is the #1 trading card trader customer that we have. He sends me one about twice a year.
Ooh.
And
He's the #1 trading card.
He is my #1 trading card trader. He has more Denny trading cards and Kevin than anybody in the world besides my wall. So, anyways,
all right,
we're going to tool.
Then you're doing a sunflower and Ryan's going to do a trout.
Okay.
I think you should do a trout.
All right.
I think it's a trouty kind of day.
I'll give it a shot.
All right.
Let me do some
quick
research.
Googling.
Got to Google trout.
Well,
he can't look at his shirt.
Helps. Yeah.
Just look down.
I'll end up tooling it upside down.
Well, you just flip the card around.
No, then you got it, yeah. Look, that's
Chevy said, I didn't know Tom Selleck did leather work.
Oh, yeah. What was that show he was on? Not Hawaii 5-0.
Magnum PI.
Magnum PI, yeah.
That's what I was going to say Hawaii 5-0.
Magnum PI is top of mind because me and the wife have been watching it lately.
William says, sounds fishy to me.
Hey.
Was he in Miami? Where was Magnum PI at?
Hawaii.
Was he in Hawaii?
Yep.
Thus the Hawaiian shirts, I'm sure.
I've never
Hence
seen
the
it.
name.
It was not Top Gun. I haven't seen it.
Or Princess Bride.
Yeah, I have to know that. Some girls don't like to watch that one.
Is it because the giant rats?
Yeah, Allie doesn't like scary things.
You just have to fast forward through that one part. The rest of it's pretty okay.
Oh, look, we got
Y'all are getting to see me do something fun where I'm trying to learn
Hey
to
Ryan,
draw.
could you like put your mallet down?
Or move it.
Thanks. Perfect.
Could you do this without tools?
I can do my best.
He's not holding the mallet. It's just sitting
I'm
there.
not using it at the moment. Well, now it's a phone stand, but
G. Olson, how is everyone? I am happy to have this week over. It's been a bit of a thing.
Yeah.
We've been missing Chris for a few days.
Really, it was just overnight because he dropped me off at work in the morning and then he
But
got
you had
home
to
late
have-
last night.
You had to have rides twice.
I did 3 times.
3 times.
3 rides. No?
Just 2. He brought you the first day, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because you showed up way early.
No, but it was 3 because Tony picked me up yesterday morning and then took me home last night. So, and then took me home on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I was.
Whatever
just like,
days are.
It was before like 7:15, and you walked in the door, and I was like, "Well, this is weird.
You're like, what are you doing here?
I'm usually here by myself,
hey, I'm here too.
but I'm in my room by myself."
But yeah, it's been a busy week. It's very exciting. We're all very excited for this weekend for many, many reasons that I will not say, but we can say next week.
It's supposed to rain all weekend.
It's not gonna rain all weekend.
Oh, okay.
It is not.
That is the one thing I still love about renting, is not mowing.
No, I don't. I have my second round of pictures scheduled because we got rained out the last round of pictures. And so I need Sunday evening to be lovely with a gorgeous sky. So it can rain up until, like
Hello, Mark.
2:30. And then after that, we can have a really beautiful sunset for my photos. That is what I need out of this weekend.
What photos you need?
Well, we're just, I got family photos for my family. So we're going to go out to Chris's dad's house and we're going to get photos out on the farm. And it's our 10-year anniversary this year. So it's my anniversary.
Here.
I know, Denny.
That's great.
What is life?
Oof.
So I would like it to not rain this weekend.
Reasonable, I suppose.
Oh, William was here yesterday.
I didn't see William.
He said he missed you and me. I was here all day. Was I here all day? I sure was here all day. Yeah, I didn't leave.
That's a trout, right?
That's a
there.
trout so
Big
far.
old male trout with a hooked beak.
Yep. Whoop. Over there. So far, so good.
Oh, he's flipping his tail at you.
Yeah.
Look at you go.
That may or may not be because I made the head way too big. I was like, well, where do I put the rest of the
Yeah,
damn
because that's
fish?
definitely not what your picture looks like.
Nope.
Look at you ad-libbing. I love it.
Yeah, started with simple.
What's up, McFluffs? Making some dice bags.
Nice.
I love it when you guys craft with us. I never get to do that, so.
You sure could, though.
I can't, because then I can't talk and craft. We just have a silent show, and maybe that's fine. Maybe there's some of y'all out there that would really prefer me to not speak, but you don't get your wish.
I've got a message.
Sorry,
I forgot some tools.
Oh, Danny.
Important tools. That's all right. I'll be back.
This is what Denny's got going on, so we'll have our little sunflower. Guys, maybe one day I can convince somebody to draw these and have a little spot for trading card designs on our website.
Doesn't that defeat the
From
purpose
Denny.
of trading cards?
I know, but maybe people need some inspiration,
Yeah.
Or, what would be really fun is if somebody did one on their own and then sent it, and then I could trade you for the same one that Denny did.
Let's talk more about this.
Could do that.
Since
Would-
we're at
I
this
think
point-
that would be a
since
lot
we're
of
at
fun.
this point of the show, let's talk about this right now. Do you want it where they can download it, or do you just want it where they can cycle through it and they can put their own piece of paper over their phone and then trace it onto another piece of paper? What would you really like? Because I can tell you which one's easier to happen for me.
I have a feeling it's the non-downloadable version.
That's right.
Could we, take a picture of, the finished one and then the design next to each other, and then you could put it somewhere? Is that a thing?
Again, downloadable.
No, yeah,
just
no, not download, but just a picture that
Yeah, we
somebody,
put
it'd be
We
good
could make a
enough.
little slideshow thing where it would say, have words on the side that says what it is and what tools maybe Denny used with it. And then you could slide over and see the next one, and you could just have a slideshow.
That would be
of
easy for you
inspiration.
to do.
And I
We
could
could just
probably
take a
make 'em-
picture
I could
after.
probably make them pretty true to size, or you could zoom in or zoom out, and you could just. My daughter does it all the time with with her Chromebook, she'll open it up flat and she'll lay a piece of paper over it, and then she'll just trace whatever on the screen.
Yeah.
And
Just
then
like a
it's
light box. But
it's hand downloadable.
what do you guys think about that? I think that that's good.
If you have any complaints, call your senator. That's my suggestion,
I'm okay with that.
because that's way easier, and then I can have other people do the picture parts, and I don't have to do it. When
Yeah.
it gets to the downloadable parts, then
I
it
think that would be
entails
fun.
more Tony work.
And that one actually saves on rhyme work, so I don't have to digitize the patterns.
Yeah.
I'm saving 2 people time.
Because really, like, once Denny traces them out with the pen, they're pretty good. Like, before, when it's just the pencil drawing, it would be probably hard to see. But once you got them all traced out with a pen after we do the show, then we could just take a picture when it's done. I think that's fantastic, actually. I'm 100% down with that.
I'm into it.
I thought you guys loved us.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I came in late.
That's okay. We got it. It's technology. You
I don't need to know.
Yeah, you just need to save these, which you do.
Yes, I've got
Yeah. He has all, so we could,
envelopes full of them.
I could find all the ones that match all the ones that we have. I can't get you any of Kevin's because he doesn't pre-draw anything, but Denny does. Yeah, yesterday was live shopping, William. Thursdays are not usually a great one to come in and see this face. I'm usually in a frantic state. Nobody wants to hang out with me like that.
I think the only time I've only drawn one trading card pattern. I think it was Rusty came in one day and he was just like, "Hey, I just didn't have the time. Can you knock me out a trading card pattern real quick?" I did that little blackberry flower. I think it's the only time I've drawn a trading card pattern. I usually just sort of go for it.
Feel the flow.
Well, it's good practice.
Oh, Rattlesnake has quite the day. They've already been to the vet, got some medication for watery eyes for calves, and then they're going to get to Brandon today. You're going to have a stinky day. We laser some hair on cowhide, which I assume is very similar to what branding
Same smell.
live
Yeah.
cows
Yeah.
smells like. It's not my favorite smell that laser makes.
It's a lot quieter than branding a cow. Hair on hides don't yell as much.
Are my hands in the way?
No, I mean, you're doing the best you can.
You do what you need to do. If I need to switch cameras, I can do it, but
Look at that fish.
That's fish.
I like him.
A dang old fish.
I've tooled a fish once. Somebody wanted a fish on their knife sheath with their initials.
Nice.
And so several years ago, I did a fish, and then like the fish was kind of coming up the top of the sheath, and then on the bottom, I drew a little reel, and then I had the line coming off the reel and kind of like wrapping around the knife sheath, and then
Nice.
hooking the mouth of the fish, which I actually thought was pretty creative for a
Yeah.
person that doesn't fish.
Hey, that's fantastic.
I was pretty proud of it. I hope it's doing good in the world.
Hope the fish is still hooked.
Yep.
I think that's the only figure carving I've ever done.
Liz was laughing at me yesterday trying to relearn landscape figure carving. Been a minute.
Well, I've never relearned anything. I'm still trying to learn it the first time.
Yeah, that's about right for me. Okay, so switch
Doing okay, Liz?
bevel.
You are. I almost couldn't tell that you'd cut the lines already. It looks like you just traced them in.
No, I cut them.
I can
I cut 'em.
kind of see that, but it's hard. It's hard to tell from up,
Yeah.
up here, 2 feet away.
Well, I had them traced before I came in, but I cut them before I had to leave and get my tools to actually tool them.
Really, Michael? His anesthesiologist mentioned SLC before she put me under yesterday. Like, she knew us. I suppose doctors also have to have hobbies, but I'm just surprised. Maybe she likes her rocks. Yeah, that is one of the caveats of doing laser things, is you also have to then be able to do computer things. So sometimes the computer things are more complicated. Like you're like, oh, I could run a laser, but I need to get a thing to the laser to run it. It just takes practice.
Glowforge makes it easy.
Yes, the beads. All right, well, that's cool.
That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, very cool.
I was talking to, during my jury duty, there was a lady that's with Visit Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to contact her and get us. They're like for the tourist destination type of things in Springfield, Missouri. And I said, well, I don't know if you know this, but Springfield Leather is a self-proclaimed second largest visited place in Springfield, Missouri. She's like, oh, really? And I said, yeah, you must have missed the self-proclaimed part.
Yeah.
Right after Bath Pros.
That's what I said.
SLC.
Whenever we did, like, I think it was last year during the Leather Crafters Day.
Probably.
And I said it was like, come visit the self-proclaimed second most visited attraction in Springfield, Missouri.
I mean, what else would it be?
Right?
The other half of Bass Pro.
She's a community development specialist.
Oh, how do you get that certification?
And it all came out because we had to stand up and say what our occupations were. So you have to stand up and say, like, what you are. So I said I was a digital media coordinator, webmaster, and
Scoundrel.
NCAA sports official. And I had like 4 people come up and ask me about the sports officialing part, not the Springfield Leather part.
Well, that is more fun.
Yeah, and then the general manager at the Springfield Kia, he was asking about Springfield Leather. And then some other guy was like, it was the guy that drove the courtesy van for that. He was like, we were driving over, he's like, I used to come over when it was, what was that other store? And I was like, well, it's either Leather Factory or Tandy. And I said, it's much different now. He's like, I should come in another time. I was like, you would be highly surprised.
That was so long ago.
But he used to buy he would buy kits. He bought a kit from Kevin.
Like, people that are like, oh, I used to shop with you when you guys were Tandy. And I'm like, guys, that was 25 years ago. 25 years ago.
Yeah.
A whole adult that can rent a car ago.
And if you're a male, you can get a reduction on your insurance, your car insurance.
Yeah, so at what point, like, you haven't been here.
Tell me you haven't come seen us without saying you haven't come seen us.
Tell me.
Don't say you know all about us.
Yeah. Let's. You're funny.
It's hard to come down from Springfield without a car. You should have talked to Liz. Chris
I know,
came
you
back from
coulda
Kansas City. You could have rode with him. I
hopped
don't know
in
how
with
you
my-
got back, but we could have got you down here.
There's probably a Greyhound that goes.
I ain't putting him
They-
on a Greyhound.
They still run.
I think people get shot on Greyhounds.
With
Nerf
places.
guns. With Nerf guns. Nerf.
With
hole
cordless
punchers.
hole punchers.
With cordless hole punchers. With cordless skin markers.
Yeah, see, Steve is just like, just when you're going to Branson, you go to Springfield.
That's right.
Cordless wound makers.
McFluffs, how do you survive in KC without a car? I'm actually impressed by that.
Work from home.
Casey has an amount of public transportation.
Just stuff me in the trunk, I'll be fine. Oh, we can get you here.
It's a hatchback, so it's actually quite roomy.
It depends on how long you want to stay. If you work from home, we got internet.
They do have these places that you can go where they will rent you a car.
Are you 25? I think they said how old they were
I
yesterday.
do think that you're on the younger side of the world, right?
Yeah, I do.
Is it
remember.
1989? Is that your birth year?
Well, that's over 25.
That is over 25. That's a year older than me.
Yeah, it's a year younger than me.
That's not true.
Oh.
Not letting him get away with it today.
Dang it.
Your fish is looking good, Ryan.
Thanks. I'm not super happy with the Vayner gills, but I'm not mad at them.
They're good.
You used a Vayner to make gills.
Yeah.
Quit complaining.
It's good gills. He's breathing. He's got all the oxygen coming in.
Right, I want him to be a little frilly, because that's something I always enjoy about, like, the fish gills, is you can see, like, that functional texture right there on the surface.
Hey, Denny, remember that koi fish pattern?
I did it once.
You did.
Didn't
I saw
show
it.
to you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Were you gonna do it? We were gonna do.
I did the bigger one. We were gonna do it on a biker wallet
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, McFluff's was only 24.
Okay. Well, where'd you get the 89 from?
I don't know. I'm wondering about upgrading my steep bevelers to the SK bevelers from the PB012. Is it worth it to make a noticeable difference? I love going to SLC. Was there on Wednesday. It says Red Horse Leather.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's the first tool I upgraded, and I'm still rocking the one I bought like 3 years ago on the small side, and I love it. Got a bigger one here that I bought later on.
Those are pretty similar to the Berry Kings.
They're dead ringers for the Berry King.
Which
Dead ringers.
Denny had given me a Berry King, which
Yeah.
is even wider, but they're all the same pitch and about the same texture, so I use them interchangeably.
I do think that they're a pretty good step up from the $7 ones, you know.
Massive.
Big,
Yeah,
big
for
step.
like $20
Oh.
instead of
Yep.
60.
McFluff's was already taken on Twitch, so I just did a random 89 at the end and called it good.
I get that.
Well, thanks.
The explanations have been explained.
Alright, we're getting to fish. We're getting into some fish territory now.
Mir also thinks that you have a cool fish.
Thanks.
Or Meyer. Which one is it?
Meyer?
And
Mayor?
that's-
Meyer?
John Mayer?
This one we don't sell. That's a Ryan Hunt exclusive custom bolt turned figure beveler.
Bolt turn. I probably ought to do my bar grounding before I do this.
Figure out where all your backgrounds are.
Yeah.
I am super not doing bar grounding. Let's see. What do I do though? Wing dividers in here?
Yep.
Thanks, Lise.
Get yourself a border.
Appreciate you.
Overshot your reach.
The
with
worst
my reach.
handoff, yeah.
Guys, I just had a super fascinating conversation with Adam Love of the great and wonderful Hermanoke Leather about verbiage.
Oh, verbiage.
About verbiage. Because words matter, if y'all didn't know. And definitions and having a consistent definition to share of words as you talk about things makes life much more cohesive and manageable. And so we were talking about how to talk about dye or paint or pigment or aniline or semi-aniline, and how Hermanoke uses those words, how I have used those words in referring to different situations, and how we can all better be on the same page about what those words mean in reference to how leather is finished. And it was very enlightening, and it was a very good conversation.
I'm
So,
for it.
like, Hermanoke does not use pigment. They use dye. And so for me, so when I talk about, like, if I'm
Is there
selling...
not pigment in the dye? Or
Okay!
Because
So, yeah.
there's different kinds of dye. There's pigment dye and chemical dye.
So
they're
that
both
was my question, and I was like, okay, so when I talk about, like, my example was Phoebeans. When I talk about
Yeah.
Phoebeans dye, I tell people, well, you know, because there's different styles of dye. So you have alcohol-based dyes. So, like, I guess the Phoebeans line is a really good example of this. Phoebe's carries a pro dye that they produce. They carry a regular leather dye. And then they also do what they call watercolors, or like leather colors, which is a water-based dye. Okay? So, the pro and the regular are alcohol-based dyes with color that is added to them. And so for me, when I was referring to the color, I would call it a pigment.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think that that is correct.
But what is the material they're putting in to get the color then?
Well, so I need to do a little bit more. Literally,
Yeah.
This was 15 minutes before we started this
okay.
video.
Gotcha.
And so there is still a little bit more that I need to reduce. But what he said is, like, they use an aniline dye. And so aniline is actually the word that I need to be using instead of pigment. Pigments are paints. Pigments sit on top. So you have pigmented leather, and sometimes there are more or less transparency. You can have full coverage pigments, or you can have more transparent pigments, but that is still a paint, and it does not absorb. It is a surface coating. Aniline is what is used. So aniline is the word to use instead of pigment, because aniline is what the dye is, and then you put it into a carrier, the alcohol or the water. And so aniline is used to produce the color that
pigment
goes.
is not necessarily paint, but it is not the dye that they use.
Well, and I think when you're talking in technical terms of leather production, they like because you have pigmented leathers, which mean painted leathers. Like, that is kind of industry standard verbiage, if I am understanding correctly from him, that if you talk about a pigmented leather, that is something that has a paint applied to the top of it. And so you want to use like aniline dye to refer to specifically like a Herman Oak style produced leather. So it might be black, but it's not a black pigment because it's not a black paint. It's a black aniline. It has penetrated and it has actually connected on the molecular level with the fibers of the leather. Where a pigment does not do that, and it strictly sits on top. It does not become one with the leather.
Okay, well, a Phoebe's Spirit dye then, their regular dye or their pro dye, which are alcohol-based, are those are not pigment? They're...
Well, and so I've always heard that, like, the pro is an oil-based pigment. And so I think I need to do a little bit of research.
Now it's alcohol-based.
So
No. The dye has always been alcohol-based. It's always been, but the pigment is different. So the coloring, this type of color that they use, and so for me, I need to do a little bit more research into what that means. Like, for me, like talking about specifically Phoebe's dyes and the two different styles, because they're both alcohol-based dyes, and they've always been alcohol-based dyes.
Well, what I'm wondering, though, are they anilines then? Or
I would assume so.
Or are they actually...
Or if it's a paint that's in it?
Because pigment is just color powder.
When you oversaturate, like with a Phoebe's dye, and it gets that metallic sheen on top, that's not the pigment that's coming to the top?
Well, so that's where the research that I need to do comes in, is would we actually call that pigment? Or in this just, like, because pigment to us just means extra of the color part that hasn't absorbed in. So
pigment is the color part.
Yeah, but maybe that's the aniline. Like, the aniline that actually contains the color.
Right.
Because you use the aniline then to produce your color. Anyways, it was a very interesting conversation about, like, some really fine technical stuff that maybe isn't super necessary for...
I dig it. Yeah.
You know, like leather crafters to just know the scientific...
Right.
It's pretty super important for us to know, though.
Yes.
Because when we're talking about something, like when we're talking to you guys, I'll say something, and one of you guys who is 10 times smarter than I am will come, well, that's not true at all, you know, this is this and that's that.
Yeah.
You know, we need to know.
Yep.
Right.
Make
right.
sure we're giving them the best information we can.
No, and so we definitely, we're going to sit down and have a more thorough conversation with Herman Oak about that.
Cool.
So we're making some plans to do some videos with them. But it's just, you know, the more you know.
Can I be in a science video? I'll talk more than I usually do.
Yeah, that was Olson. That was when I got off the phone, I started doing some Googling and reading like I was like, what is aniline? Like, now I need to know what is aniline. And so, you know, it has a chemical composition, and it is a thing that you use to create, like, that is the carrier for the color.
Right.
And so anyways, like, there's a deeper level of understanding that I am excited to get to.
Yeah.
Is the edge coat stuff pigment? Yes. Edge coat is more of a paint that sits on the top.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely pigment.
It's not going anywhere, but it's definitely a paint.
I mean, Smalls, we definitely do make up words. That's a thing.
Technically, all words are made up eventually, you know, so.
Yeah, I had to be like, because I was talking to Adam and I used the word pigment, and he was like, oh, no, we don't do that.
No.
Yeah, he was like, and I was like, oh, hold on a minute. I was like, I need to recategorize words in my head for usage now.
I would love
So
for you to share all of the stuff you find out with me.
yeah, I'm very excited.
Because I'm
love having these
fascinated as to
conversations.
where that distinction's happening, you know? Because I come from a painting background, not a leather background.
Yeah.
I think
And,
we're going there.
Yeah, in that context, pigment is just the term for the color of the paint. It is what makes it not clear medium, is the powdered color. So I'm interested to see where that distinction is in leather dyes and kind of what they're talking about, because I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and so I wrote a little chart of my own as I was on the phone.
Yeah.
No, Smalls, the roundtable discussion is changing.
Yeah, we have been working on a new way to kind of accomplish a similar situation. It was good for the couple years that we had it, and we really enjoyed doing it. But we wanted to kind of switch it up this year, so we've been working in the background on some different things. So this is what I came up with. So basically, you have pigmented, semi-aniline, and aniline leathers. So these are finishes of leather that you can have. So if you're pigmented, that means that you are painted. If you are semi-aniline, that means you have a dye that is mixed with a paint. So you don't have complete total coverage like the paint. You're not completely covering the leather, but you are still penetrating the fibers, getting the color down into the fibers, and then you do still have a paint that will sit on top that is still like almost like a corrected grade. And then you have dye, which is an aniline, a full aniline situation that completely penetrates, and there is no pigment on top of the leather. So this is my little chart that I am going to start researching and figure out exactly kind of where the differentiation and what it means to be this versus this.
Right, because I wonder if that's like specifically the dyes they use are aniline, you know, and they're trying to make that distinction. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, I love learning.
Yeah.
I love learning.
So you'll like the concept of the other one. It's not changing what the concept is. It's just readjusting how the concept is delivered.
Yeah, and kind of expanding it. You know, it was really awesome when Herman Oak was here. Was it last year already, or was it early this year?
You can say anymore.
Whenever it was. You know, we had the group from
This
Herman
year.
Oak that came down, and we sat down and we had that round table.
Dang,
We wanted
I don't
to
know that he
expand
needs
on that
anything else.
idea.
I think that looks cool.
I think
with
it's just gonna need
I
some
love
dye.
the rock,
with things.
the gravel.
Thank you. Yeah, put a little creek bed in there.
He's swimming in the creek.
He's
Did you show him?
Yeah, I had it set up while we were talking about dyes.
Look at that.
I'm probably gonna do a little border something, but
Make sure you put your little something initials on there somewhere.
it's a good idea. Man, that does on the camera. It gives it a really nice depth effect there.
Are you gonna try to paint it or dye it?
I will be dyeing it for sure. This will be a fun
With
one.
some
Will
fun.
you be analyzing it?
Will you be analyzing it?
See, that I can't answer confidently because I don't know yet, but I will let you know as soon as I know.
Well, if you said no, I'm not gonna use paint. I'm gonna use dye. Then I'm gonna. Well, I mean, I guess I'm gonna say yes for now. But also, I am curious. Like, tanneries don't use the same dye that you can buy in store. Like
Right.
tanneries are not. They're building their own.
They're not using Phoebings.
They're not using phoebes.
That's what
I'm
I
pretty sure.
suspect the distinction is.
Yeah, and so I am curious. Like, I kind of want to reach out to Phoebeans and be like, explain it to, or like look at their website and see like, okay, what kind of maybe scientific information do you have here?
Because I think that maybe like commercial dyes.
Anyways, questions. Hopefully, I'll find answers.
Comments on how great Denny's doing.
Look at that sunflower. Michael says, "Dang, that trout looks fantastic."
Thanks, Michael.
It does.
I'm happy with it. Yeah.
Yes, Steve. Yes.
Well,
Vegan leather is just plastic.
yes.
Anytime you guys hear that, you correct the crap out of them. I am commissioning our followers to be the standard bearers that if you want vegan leather, even if it's the mushroom leather or the apple leather or the pineapple leather or whatever that it is, at this point it is still like 10% pineapple, 90% plastic. So,
You think that's better for the environment?
like, you're still, like, it's still a crude oil derivative.
I really get a lot of joy out of the fact that leather is like a byproduct industry.
It is a byproduct industry.
I
It has
enjoy
been
that.
around since the beginning of, like, humans. We have used leather because we eat meat. Whether or not we're doing it correctly, like right now, is not the point. Is that leather is a sustainable, natural product that is 100 times better than any plastic, vinyl situation that you could ever use.
And if the meat industry up and disappears, we'll find something else, you know? Or
We're always
leather's
going to be
a
eating
smaller
meat.
thing.
It'll-
Hey,
yeah, it'll just be-
animals will always die
Yeah,
with their hide on them.
yeah.
Generally.
That's usually what happens.
I mean, another animal could eat the hide off of them. Probably can't use that one.
So,
Thomas checking in from sunny Saskatoon.
Sonny,
cows are vegan. I love you, Kelly. You're beautiful.
Cows are herbivores.
Olson, I feel like I've looked that up in the past, like where the term vegan leather. But it was a way for people to make vinyl sound more appealing to people that didn't want to wear leather.
Yeah.
Like during the kind of whole era of like no leather, they came up with the vegan leather term just so they could sell you plastic and make it sound better. They just wanted to sell you vinyl, and not call it vinyl. That's what they wanted to do.
Branding.
Buy real leather. Use real leather.
Yep, we're filling the world up with plastic.
Yeah,
We
there's
don't need more.
It's kind of a no going back situation once you put plastic somewhere.
literally.
Leather falls apart and makes itself scarce.
Or it'll at least last like 20 times longer
Right.
than any piece of vinyl ever could.
And it will feel better.
And it will breathe. And it's,
You won't get as sweaty.
oh my God, I can't. I love animals, y'all. Like, I love all the animals. I love them all. But, like Denny said, they all die. and
Except for my dog.
and
he'll
they
never
make
die.
yeah, right.
Your dog
Pets
will
never die.
Me and him will die simultaneously of natural causes.
So like we should
Don't
like,
look into it.
Don't let it go to waste.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing I always tie it to the beef industry for, is the
Yeah.
beef industry is massive. And if there is not a leather industry, or at
It's
least a
all
rawhide
just
industry,
waste.
it's just piles of rot that have to be handled now,
Yeah.
which creates massive pest issues, which I don't like.
Anyways.
Man, I'm thinking I'm calling that good. I think I'm pretty happy with that. And Liz, I even got my little signature on there. But
He's so cute.
I'm happy with that, yeah. Thanks for letting me come in here and do this today. I love it.
Absolutely. Look, guys, just pull up a picture on the internet and tool it.
Easy. I've never done this.
Make it too big and make its tail swish.
I've never done any tooling. I was just flying by the seat of my pants. What is this place?
Yeah.
All it is, Ryan, is you just made the perfect cast. He's doubling back to go get it.
Oh, see, I was thinking it's one of the ones that's like following your topwater fly and starts to tip up and then just, nah, kidding. I see those more often.
Unfortunately,
I get a lot of window shoppers when I go fishing.
Oh, Michael, that's terrible.
I
Don't
was
talk
trying to
about
figure out
that.
anything you could have done differently on the gills part of it. I think the veiner's good.
I'm not mad, yeah.
What a stippler might have done something to it.
That's a good idea. Get a little stippling down on the underside of those. Hey,
Thomas says, awesome.
thanks, Lefty.
You're welcome.
Nice fish leather.
People. Hey.
We also get fish leather.
I watched a guy, for some reason, on my YouTube reels popped up, a guy catching arapaimas.
Oh, really?
Them
Whoa.
jokers are big.
Yeah, they are.
That sounds fun.
They're
Oh, it was, they're in like farming ponds now, but he was saying they're like
okay.
100,000 years old.
mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like dinosaurs. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the alligators of the Amazon, which they probably also have alligators, but
Or the Canada geese of the water.
the Canada geese of the water.
Because Canada geese are roughly Pleistocene origins.
There you go, Nick. Inspiration for the day. We got Nick
Yeah.
tooling instead of geo-stamping.
There you go, Chevy. Pull a picture or something, tool it, send it to me.
That does look really good.
Thanks. I'm extremely pleased.
I think you should do like a whole series of fish now.
Oh no, I have to do more tooling. You guys are making my job so terrible.
well,
Like, you should just come in every month and-
reference, though,
Deal.
We probably need to go see real fish.
That's
Oh.
true.
Oh yeah.
That's true. So,
Didn't you just do that? Don't you have a busy weekend?
But not on the clock.
They didn't look the same.
And we gotta get pictures of the fishing gear in action.
Exactly.
I mean, we made that pattern 3 years ago? 4 years
And
ago?
you could fish on a tri-stool.
I think Rusty
a
approved
tripod
that.
Stool.
There we
that
go.
was an approved outing.
Alright, well. Isaac, you let me know what's happening.
Denny's got a fly wallet. We got to test that out and see if it actually works.
Yep. Andy's gonna have to be there to supervise. Make sure
We've
none of
made
us.
camera straps out of leather, so I should probably go and test those out.
Yep.
McFluffs, you just gotta start. You just
Somebody's gonna have to test out the 6-pack holder.
gotta start, and then it's gonna suck in the beginning, and you're gonna think that you're terrible. And then 6 months in, you're gonna be like, I'm not as bad as I used to be.
You can go and look at the first time I tooled anything. The introduction Liz didn't care for, but I actually did pretty good tooling. And it was my first time. You follow along, there's like 3 beginner classes.
Yeah.
Is the only way to get fish leather in the scrap bags. We don't have any hides of the arapaima right now, but we can special
On rare
order them.
occasion, we get
I
some
mean, we do have
We-
one hanging on the
We
wall.
do have a really big
Yeah.
one, yeah, in the hall.
monster.
If
I'll ask Kevin
Yeah.
if he wants to sell it.
I think we have the fish and feather box. That's like mostly arapaima, and then a couple pieces of ostrich.
Do you like blue and lighter blue of arapaima? It's a big skin. I'll ask Kevin if he'll sell it.
Probably.
There's that other one in the hallway that I was supposed to buy years ago and I didn't.
Or there's one that Liz didn't buy.
It's
I'd
more of
say
a
that
green one.
McFluffs, I heard Liz talking to you as well. The way I would recommend getting started is the Denny Beginner Toolkit is awesome. I think those are exactly the tools to try it out and get started.
Yeah, it's 8 tools and it'll follow along right with the beginner tooling class.
And a swivel knife.
It's in there.
I know.
It's just-
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
It's seven tools and a swivel knife. It's an 8-piece set.
But in addition to that, get a carve right you like one of the ones that's just a bunch of different flowers or a bunch of different leaves.
Or the
And
coasters.
Just start tooling those on your scraps. Just go nuts.
Go nuts. Sorry.
Go nuts, y'all.
your echo
Love the
today.
fish. I do
Thank
love
you.
your fish.
Thank you, Denny. What'd you do to your camera?
There
There
you
it
go.
goes.
Now you're not.
Look at you guys.
There you go. I think we did a decent job today.
Nice.
I even stayed fairly aware of my camera location. I only went the complete wrong direction half the time, not the entire time.
Alrighty, folks. Well, that was Tooling Card Friday.
Woo!
So we'll be back. I kind of forgot that it was the last Friday of the month on Wednesday when we were doing the shoes. Denny was so stressed out by those that I couldn't think of anything else.
Look at him.
I
He's in
wasn't
shambles.
stressed out. I was worn out.
Yeah, I was about to say, look how stressed out he is. He's in shambles.
So next Wednesday we will continue the saga of the
Shoe.
shoe. Upcycling a wedge.
Yeah.
And
They're
yeah.
gonna come out good, you guys. I don't mark my words.
They're gonna look really
We'll
great
see.
unless they don't.
We'll see.
So everybody go try some tooling.
Yeah.
And then
Heard it here first.
send your card in and we can trade you. And then I think we are going to get started on that little thing we were talking about of having the pictures of the cards and their counterpart designed so that if you don't have a design that you want to tool or you need some help with a little trading card design, you can just steal Denny's.
We'll use, just a picture of my phone with a picture of a fish on it instead of a pattern for me.
It works. Alrighty, folks, have a great weekend and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.